Hello and today we're going to have a game of Enduro Racer for the Sinclair ZX Spectrum. I had this back in the day for the Amstrad CPC 464, also played the Commodore 64 version, so I just want to see what the Spectrum version plays like. And it looks exactly like the Amstrad CPC version, so I'm only guessing it was ported over from the Spectrum to the Amstrad. Well, that's pretty clear because the Spectrum version is running much faster, and that usually is the case when they port games over to the Amstrad. It looks and plays well on the Spectrum, but until it gets to the Amstrad, then it plays like a pile of shit. Very cheeky programming that. You know, they get away around it because it's quicker and easier, but they don't play test it. So the Amstrad usually gets a pile of crap when it's ported from the Spectrum. That's what we was used to back then. There you go. Right, so start game. Let's define the keys. Well, we don't need to. It's QAOP space, which is the keys I would always use anyway. So we don't have to worry about that. So let's start the game. So we get a little bit of music in this version. Mine are going. Oh, guess what? I know why we ain't going, because we didn't select the controls. So we can't get out of that, so we'll just reset it. Sorry about that. Saves doing the video all over again. Right. We know change control mode. Keyboard. Right, that's it. Now we can start the game. We know what the controls are. And away we go. Yeah, so this looks identical to the Amstrad CPC version, as I said before. It was a port from the Spectrum version, but immediately you can tell it plays a hell of a lot better. The frame rate is much better. It even plays better than the Commodore 64 version. Graphically, it looks so much better than the Commodore 64 version. And it won't, you know, a lot of people slagged off the Commodore 64 version as a fuck up there. No, it wasn't the greatest conversion I've played, but it was alright. It wasn't as bad as people make out to be. It wasn't bad. I played a hell of a lot worse racing games on the Commodore 64. Hard Driving, Chase HQ. But this is pretty good on the Spectrum. As I said, it's definitely better than the Amstrad version, obviously for the reason it's faster. The frame rate is a hell of a lot more smoother. This music gets on my nerves. No need for this music to be here, I guess. But mind you, there was music. Oh fuck, I ran out of time. There was music on the Commodore 64 version, but it did sound a hell of a lot better than this. But who cares about the music? You don't want to really hear the music during the game. You want to hear sound effects. You know, it's a racing game. Why do you want music going through it? Unless it's Outrun or something like that, of course. You want a dirt bike. So really you want to hear the revs, but it's not like it matters, because I'm saying a game where you change gears. Being a dirt bike. But then the music stops. Then it starts all over again. There we go. There's no need for that. But apart from the music, I think the game really plays well. Oh, I would have enjoyed this if this was like this on the Amstrad CPC. As I said, the graphics and the colour scheme were identical. I know the Amstrad could have done colours, but it was a port from the Spectrum version. But unfortunately, on the Amstrad, you don't get this. You don't get a frame rate like this. No way. This is a good version. Probably the best 8-bit version I've played is the Spectrum version. than I think the Commodore 64 version, because I don't know, I think it was slightly faster than the Amstrad version. And it's well, I'll say it was definitely a lot smoother and all. This is good. I like it. I really would have enjoyed this back in the day. And this is the 128K. There is also a 48K version of it as well. Obviously, I ain't played the 48K version. It's probably be the same sort of thing without the AY sound chip. Or the AY sounds rather. So you would have got the bleeper sounds instead. Yeah, I'm not disappointed with this version at all. This is really good. The only gripe I've got is that shitty fucking music. It's just stupid. It's not necessary to be there. I mean, we got the bike sound. Really, that's all we needed. Alright. I'm playing like shit because I keep talking. Oh, get to enter out. Guess what? I've always said it, and I'm going to say it again. You've got a keyboard on the computer. Why do we need to enter it in this stupid arcade style? I've always hated that. Unless you've got a game console, of course, then that's different. But you've got a computer. You've got a keyboard, so why not type the name in? Unless, I don't know. Unless you can't be bothered to take your fingers off the keys. Let's have another go. Let's have one more go at this. This is a good version. I'm liking it. I really like it. Yeah, I've done a review on the arcade version as well. I mean, nothing can touch arcade version, so you can't compare it. You can't compare the arcades, because that just wouldn't be fair. Obviously the hardware is a lot more superior on arcade games. Oh, balls! Right. I know people are going to say, if you're not a Spectrum, you didn't play on a Spectrum, why are the graphics in monochrome? Well, I think everyone knows this reason. Spectrum had a limited colour palette, and a lot of games are in monochrome, probably to save on attribute clash. I never owned a Spectrum back in the day, but I knew about this sort of problem that the Spectrum had. It wasn't really a problem if you owned one because you was used to it, and there was a lot of good games for the Spectrum, of course. It was one of the first computers I ever played on, was the 48K Spectrum, so I knew a little about it. I knew a little bit about it, but not a great deal. So yeah, that's Enduro Racer for the Sinclair ZX Spectrum. I thought it was really good to play. Definitely better than the Amstrad CPC version and better than the Commodore 64 version. Anyway, I'm going to end this now. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, and goodbye.